Okay. Hello, Patrick. Welcome. Welcome to the Fireside Chat, the Resurrection. Why is it the Resurrection? Because it was the whole
Ed.
concept was dead on arrival. But I used to do a fireside chat where I'd ask people a few questions and get them to provide answers in the TPG chat. Because there was lots of people and not all of us knew each other, especially after the corporate takeover and the constant increase in the people working there. So anyway, it was I was attempting to bring people together instead of pull people apart, as is your want. But anyway, we'll move swiftly on from there. Welcome and thank you for agreeing to appear on Fireside Chat: The Resurrection. Which
Yay.
seat would you like, my friend? You
Which
can take.
one? Which seat? I'll go for the stylish cardboard one, please.
I don't know how robust that is, but you can give it a go anyway. So,
Yay.
the way this works, Pat, is that we have all these pictures of different people that you may or may not know, and you get to choose, I don't know, behind each picture is a subject. I'd sort of, I did have questions, but now I've just got subjects so we can, you know, elucidate more or whatever, or just weighing on about whatever we want to weighing on about around that subject. And also, it just gives people an out if they feel uncomfortable about it. So, do you want to choose the first subject? No, that's right. The first thing I wanted to do was say, it's like a quiz. How many of these people can you recognize and name?
Oh, good Lord. I'm
So,
terrible with names anyway.
top
So
left,
that's top left is Councillor Dr. David M. Swallow.
I wanted to ask you something about that. I was reading some internal documentation we had today, and it mentions parish councillor or a parish council. And I thought you must have written that, and it must be a sly reference today. But anyway, so you've got Dave, then
We got Makoto Yuki, Ueki,
you, you
something. I'm butchering
yeah,
his name.
Makoto. Just say Makoto.
Yeah.
Uh, the I was on the Agwag meeting today, and there was a big kerfuffle because there was a second Makoto, and they were
Oh,
deciding,
yes.
yeah, what he was a serious chap too.
Yeah,
Um,
but I saw the email coming in saying I will be attending for the first time. It's like, yeah,
yeah,
the
it's
anticipation.
he was saying something to the effect that he had been promised that something I couldn't quite get what he was talking about, but something would be included. I think it's to do with internationalization, but something would be included in WCAG 2.3. I was thinking, well, we're not having a WCAG 2.3. So somebody obviously told him we were, and that would be
Yeah,
included.
it's like yeah, but if it doesn't happen now, it will happen in 2.3. It's like
Yes.
now,
Yeah.
see now, did they say today? Oh, don't worry, it's going to be in WCAG 3 when it comes
No,
out.
they didn't
No.
because he said that that's not good enough. But anyway, I mean, you can read the minutes. It's yeah. So sorry
Yeah.
for those watching from home or listening from home. There's a accessory guidelines working group meeting on a Tuesday afternoon. Lots of people attend. I go and attend and savor a little, as is my want. Um, this is the W3C. This you go, yeah, and they talk a lot today. They were talking about the conformance models, and it ends up. So you had people such as Greg and others waxing lyrical about conformance models and what it meant and what it didn't. It was interesting, and there's going to be a survey. So we got the swallow, we got Makoto. Well, there's you, obviously. You recognize yourself.
I think
Do,
so. Yeah, I'm not that far gone yet. That I don't.
do you
Yeah.
recognize the person next to you?
Uh,
I'll give you a clue.
the name is on the tip of my tongue,
L.
but yeah.
Her first name starts with L,
Hang on, hang on, hang
and her
on.
second name starts with G.
Lucy Greco.
Exactly. And do you
That's the one.
recognize the person at the end there?
Oh, possibly my boss. Well, you're my boss as well. So what? One of my
Yeah, that's
bosses is Leone,
the boss's boss.
the
Uh,
boss's boss. Yeah, and
and
then
second row.
we got Mister Ubisoft Gregory.
Yeah, and then
Oh,
come
the
on, just say that.
Paciello,
Well, who's that? Passiello.
the
Who's the one in the
Paciello.
middle? This is there's no particular reason, but this is actually a visual icon of this person.
This was your let's grab some some random pictures to make up the square.
Yeah.
That's Lola Odalola.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
You've got eight for no, sorry. Yeah, eight
Yeah.
for eight so far. And the next person,
It's the law office of Laney Feingold.
and the person after that, this is the last person in the second row.
Yeah, that's Idi Amin. Hidi.
Hiddy, I mean,
Hidi.
that's mean. Um, the I put his sponsorship uh, imagery on there because he bought me dinner in Toronto. Him and
Yeah, so the to guess the name of that person is fairly easy. It's Mr. Rosselli.
yes, it is. And who's next to him?
Oh, what's his name? That's usually what happens with me. It's like we talked about him the other day.
HG.
Oh yeah,
Homer Gaines, fuck it. Who's next?
there we go. There we go. Oh, that's it's your friend. It's
Yeah,
well, you're the friend of everybody's. It's
I'm not everybody's
Beganjito.
friend. I
It's
have a few select.
yeah,
It's Beganito, Michael
yeah,
Began, and he will be
in the hot seat.
in Tokyo.
Oh, it will be. Oh, good.
Yes, and I've asked him to get a picture of you and Mike Smith together.
Excellent.
That's he asked me what do you want from Japan, and that's what I told
Both of us in samurai costumes. Yeah.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
and next to Mike.
There we go. Crystal Preston Watson.
Oh, thank you, because I knew her name was Crystal, but I couldn't remember the last bit. Um, I actually do know most of these people, but I don't think I've ever met Crystal, but she just looks badass there, so I thought I'd include her
Oh
in.
yeah.
And last but not least,
Last but not least, it's Zoe. I think pronounced Bell. The last
how is
name.
it? I pronounce
Yeah.
it Bijou.
Yeah.
Beal.
I
Yeah.
think
Anyway,
I
Zoe.
think they corrected me once when I attempted it, and it's like, no, it's Bell. It's like, okay.
So yeah, Zoe popped up on because I'm doing this article for the
HTML hell.
whatever his name is,
Yeah.
Matuzo,
Yeah.
Manuel Matuzo's HTML advent calendar, and Zoe did a PR
QA for
review.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which was helpful. So anyway, okay, so you got six
How
selects.
the tables have turned, my friend.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so let's just look. I used to work with Dave, and so did you. I've never worked with Makoto, but I've known him for a long time because he was the person that he contacted me very early on in the piece about the toolbar, and also he's a good friend of Mike Paciello's, and he translated Mike's book into Japanese. The book I can't remember the name of. I've never actually read, but apparently it's a classic. It was probably it's probably it's like building accessible websites or something, or making the web, something.
Yeah, I probably have it here in my shelf somewhere, but yeah,
But
okay.
and Lola, well, I've met her a few times. She's doing stuff at the moment within the tag. She's in the technical architecture group at the W3C, leading the web to its full potential. So they say. Lainey, I met Lainey, met Hidi. I'm working co-editing the way I am with Hidi. Adrian, well, everybody knows Adrian, but most people don't want to know him. It's interesting. And I met Homer for the first time in recently at XSVTO. We know Beganuto. We were both there at TPAC. Was it last year or the year before? I can't remember. No, it was last year.
Well, last year was LA, yeah,
Was it?
yeah,
He
and the
wasn't there last year.
year
He was there.
before was
Yeah.
Seville, yeah.
Yes, that's where he was.
He was
So
going around with his white jeans everywhere, yeah.
yeah, that's it. So we both met him. As I said, I've never met Crystal. What's it? Scott
Preston Watson, I'm
Preston
fairly
Watson.
sure anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
and Zoe we used to work with
yeah, and
back in the old days.
yeah,
Okay, so
same as Billy and
oh yeah, he used
Mr.
to work
Mike,
with Billy,
yeah,
he used to work with Mike, he used to work with Adrian.
yeah,
We used to work with, well, I used to work with Bega Nuto.
yeah. I
But
think I
of
might
course, we
have
used to work with
just yeah.
Henny. So there's
That's
quite a
not
few people
any, but yeah,
that we collectively worked with. So let's
yeah.
get on this, moving swiftly on.
Swiftly, half an hour later.
Well, I mean,
Anyway,
it's the first one. Give me a chance. Okay, so you've
okay.
got all these people, all right, and
Yes.
we've ascertained that you know everybody's name, or at least part of their name. So, and as I said, under each one is a sorry, under each one is a subject. So,
Oh,
which I'll throw a question out actually based on the subject. So, choose away, and we can do as many of these as you can put up with, or I can put up with. So, um, what's
right.
your
So
choice?
celebrity squares here.
Yeah,
I'll go
it's sort of
for
like
yeah. I'll go for Makoto-san. Let's see
Makoto.
what's
Okay,
under Makoto.
disability. I
Oh,
mean, we both work in accessibility and have for some may say far too long.
yes.
But uh, do you yourself consider yourself disabled? And if so, what is your disability? I mean, how do you approach it? How do you approach the subject and concept of disability?
Yeah. So basically, what's wrong with me?
Is it wrong?
Well, well, not. I mean, not more than not more than the usual late middle-aged person. So my eyesight has always been a little
Yeah,
bit
your eyesight's fucked,
rubbish.
isn't it? I forgot about that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's I mean, not to a kind of pathological point, but I've got fairly strong prescription, and now with age, it's not just being short-sighted, but also not being able to focus up close. So basically, my range of vision is now slowly turning into like a one sliver of I can just about read it at this distance. Anything closer or further away starts becoming a bit difficult. But beyond that, I don't think I've got anything that would class as a disability as such. But yeah,
For some reason, have you got your hand up, or is it just me?
it's you. It's your hand.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just
Which
noticed it there because I was. I don't know if you can notice, but in the background of the background of my background is the swallow's arms. That's the
yes, yes,
yes. I mean, it's this. It's what I see it as is a the mark of quality.
yeah, the mark of the devil. But
Yeah,
yeah,
or yeah, and or either. So as far as disability is concerned, what I mean, what do you think about the concept of lived experience and how some people who, accessory professionals appear to lean into having a disability themselves in order to, I suppose, give themselves credibility?
Yeah, give. I was going to say like give credence to
Yeah,
their opinion. I mean, of course there is an aspect of on the extreme there will be people who haven't experienced a particular disability themselves, and they may or may not be talking out of their ear when they start kind of second guessing what happens, or it would be these types of users will be best served doing this, or think of the poor screen reader user who's going to come across your page. Sometimes there's a little bit of of rubbish advice given, possibly with the best intentions, but there is a danger of, if you don't know what you're talking about,
well, yeah. I mean, I don't know
there's
what
a
I'm
lot
talking
of
about most
danger.
of the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I want to get a better understanding of a particular disability issue or some sort of barrier that a person may have due to their disability, I'll just ask.
Yeah.
You
I mean
know,
that's always good. The that was actually the title of Sean Lawton Henry's book, Just Ask. That I
was it
made the web.
really?
Yeah, I made the web version for that like eons ago. But yeah, that was basically yeah. But that's the too long didn't read of the entire book. It's like, if you don't know it, just ask. And yeah, there's certainly there's value in actually asking for or double checking with somebody who's got that particular disability. If you before you start saying, oh, for a screen reader user, this is good or this is bad, maybe just double check with somebody who's actually a screen reader user,
Yeah,
that
as an
but
example.
yeah,
Um,
but
there's,
also I would say that the opposite side, the danger is that
yeah, yeah,
I often see that somebody, say a developer says, "Oh, I've done this. Oh, I've checked it with my one mate who's a screen reader user, or my one friend who's colorblind, and they said it's fine." And it's like, there is, as with anything else, screen reader users, or users that are uppercase or lowercase deaf and
yeah.
rely on sign language or whatever, there will be personal preferences. They're not all, not every disability is a unifying blob of, they all have the same kind of idea of, yeah, this is a good way of approaching it, or this is bad. I always
Right.
equate this to, you can't just ask a single person, like a sighted person with that hasn't got color deficiency vision problems, and say, what's your favorite color? Blue. And from that, extrapolate that every person who's sighted likes the color blue. There will
Yeah.
be personal preferences. So, that kind of tying it back to the lived experience. Yes, lived experience is important, but it's not an absolute. Just because one person says, I have this disability, and in my opinion, this is okay or this isn't okay, that's one data point. It doesn't mean now that from that you can extrapolate and say, right, well, all blind users or all deaf users or whatever, or all keyboard users will want to do it this way rather than the other. So, it's about weighing different opinions. It's obviously the opinion of, say, if we're talking screen readers, the opinion of a screen reader user counts more when we're talking about something specifically about screen reader usage than, I don't know, a random consultant who claims to be an expert in screen readers but isn't actually a real life user themselves of screen readers. So
Yeah.
yeah, an actual user counts more. It's more weighted, but it's not the be all and end all. Whatever they say is more authoritative, but it's still not the
Yeah, they
one
have to have
true
that
answer.
self perspective that
Yeah,
yeah, what
and
they
they might even you see it sometimes. Different, say, screen reader users will disagree on, oh, I like this approach, or I don't like this approach,
yeah.
it's natural. We're all human. We're all got our own likes and dislikes.
So yeah, the bottom line is ask people, but don't rely upon individuals at the same
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
All right, I think we've beaten that to death for this. No, 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 we haven't beaten it to death, but I mean, I think we should move on now. It's time to choose another person and
Oh,
another
time to
subject.
choose. I will go for Laney.
Laney. Yeah, I
Yes.
can't even remember what I've written. Hey,
Aha.
AI, there you go. I mean, it's a subject that is affecting what we how we work and what we do, and to varying degrees, and it's quite a uh, polarizing topic, much
Yeah.
like yeah, the MAGA movement is a polarizing, political movement. AI. Well, actually, AI, I think, is has a lot to do with the whole authoritarian outlook of politics at the moment as well. I mean, it goes hand in hand. I mean, it's not the cause, but it doesn't help.
Yeah.
Uh, what are your feelings about I can't even say it. AI, artificial intelligence, large language models, etc., and accessibility.
Well, first of all, I think the one problem with the whole discourse is that the term AI is kind of so broad that it's kind of meaningless. There's a lot of things that fall under
Yeah,
AI. There's some good applications with things like neural networks, where let's take an example. We're both, as you can clearly see from this picture, we're both quite happy to tinker with images in like photo editing software. And one of the simple examples where it's a good thing, AI, is when you're trying to do like clean selection masks of things. Back in the old days, you're there trying and failing to kind of really cut out something nicely so you don't get like a horrible border. Nowadays, most of the graphical editing software, they have some kind of AI or smart kind of selection tool that was probably trained on some neural network models, and you can basically just let the machine uh, do a selection for you. You get that even in video editing. You can actually do it with moving pictures. Say, I just want to isolate this particular
yeah,
object or this particular person, or even just the person's head, and it will track it, it will mask it
yeah,
in a way that is so much cleaner than doing it all by hand. So there are good uses of AI. I think the one part of AI that is getting all the headlines in recent months, years, and that is problematic is the LLMs. It's the large language models, where basically all the knowledge that's on the web in books or whatever has just been kind of crammed into this predictive model. It's kind of a giant black box, and now when you talk, basically when you prompt it, it will try to, based on all these kind of statistical analysis, what's the most likely next word that comes
yeah,
after this thing in most stuff that it's been trained on. It will try to spit something out as a response to a prompt that is, it sounds or it looks like something similar to what it's been trained on. But a lot of people don't understand that that's, in simple terms, that's all it is. It doesn't know what it's actually doing. I mean, this is a classic kind of problem of artificial intelligence. Is like oh, what's it called? The Chinese room paradox, where you have, if you imagine, you have a person stuck in a room. They've got all the dictionaries in the world to translate from, individual words from, say, English into Chinese, and you pass them a note through a little slit, and then they don't know Chinese, but they use all these reference books around them. They copy what they find. They pass out the translated slip back through the door, and lo and behold, the Chinese room, this black box, has now translated Chinese to English. Does the actual person inside the room know Chinese? No, they just basically use all their reference materials and
Well, you think they
just
sat there long enough and
they
didn't
might,
want,
yeah, they
yeah,
might start it, but yeah, I mean, that's the idea. The LLMs have no concept of what they're actually doing. So
they
when
don't have
people start,
consciousness. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, well,
Yeah,
not even awareness. They don't even know what they're doing. They just know that based on this stimulus, which is the input, the most likely positive output that I can do is something like this. So when people start assigning, like, oh yeah, it made things up, or I then asked it and then it admitted that it lied or something, it doesn't even know what the concepts are that you're talking about. It's
yeah.
basically when you then scold your AI model for not, for making things up, it will just then spit out a response that looks like the most likely good response to something that, to somebody saying you've fucked up, is an apology sounding type thing, and it
Yeah,
will
yeah,
spit out.
yeah.
It's not
It's
that,
annoying. It's
it's just,
annoyingly
yeah,
obsequious at times,
yeah.
and yeah. I mean, what?
But that's so that's the problematic kind of stuff, or it's problematic when people think it does more than what it actually does. I mean, there are interesting uses, and when we talk about the accessibility angle, things like, based on an image, it can recognize certain shapes because it's been kind of trained on them, and then it can generate a text alternative. But again, this is because it's been trained enough times with pictures of a chair to
Yeah,
then work out that, a positive response, a good response to getting this stimulus, this visual stimulus of the what looks like a chair, is to say it's a chair, whether it's really
which
a
is in
chair
fact
or
right
not.
in that case. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that kind of thing. But yeah,
I mean, I
especially,
do
yeah.
find it useful for generating the starting point for complex images because it often picks stuff up
Yeah,
that I hadn't seen or wouldn't quite know how to describe. But there's always errors I find, and so like anything, it's a first draft, and then you can work from there.
absolutely.
Um,
But certainly, it's, the difference between the author has not provided a text alternative, and it sucks to be you if you don't know what that image is, if you can't see it, and the author hasn't provided an image, but we ran some AI image recognition over this and it attempted to give a text alternative. The difference is obviously night and day. So for say a completely blind user who can't actually see the image, even if it's not perfect, even if it's maybe hallucinating every now and again, having at least, the start of an auto generated text alternative is better than nothing. Obviously,
yeah, it
if it's
gives them something
yeah,
rather than the
if it's
heuristic.
handcrafted, that will always be better. Well, not always. If the person crafting it by hand knows what they're doing, it will be better. But
But
AI can't work out what the actual purpose of an image is. It can give a very straight faced interpretation of, well, this is what you see in the image, but it
yeah,
can't add what perhaps what the author actually intended to do with that image, and
yes.
what the meaning is behind it, because again, AI doesn't actually reason. LLMs or whatever, they don't know what a page is or whatever.
All right. All right. So cut to the chase. Uh, AI for accessibility testing.
For testing. I mean, the one part, where AI is being used for testing, or at least they're trying to use it for testing, is in all those areas where currently, when you're doing say a WCAG assessment, a large percentage of that is not something that's cut and dry. You can't just look at code and say, yes, this passes or it fails. It needs human understanding and kind of interpretation. And often it's very contextual. And the hope is that with AI, it can semi-automate those kind of checks and at least kind of provide an initial best guess
I
of
haven't seen
running.
I, I haven't seen anything,
No,
that actually
nothing.
does that. And
No,
I know that some accessory companies, tool
they'll
vendors,
they'll
have
claim it. Yeah,
claim it, but you've got to buy it before you can use it type thing, and that, or you've got to sit through hours of them, trying to hard market things at you. So yeah, it's there's an opacity about the AI, the utility of AI in accessory testing as much as there is the opacity about the AIs themselves and the LLMs. They're black boxes in a lot of senses. Actually, Heaney's written a number of interesting posts, articles about AI, and it's well worth reading. His stuff. I have actually. Well, no, I did read one of his, but I haven't read all of them. But I applaud the fact that he's thinking seriously about this space, and I'm interested in it too, and because I have used a large language models, ChatGPT in particular, to help me to do things that I can't do, which is sometimes, it's even, chewing or breathing even,
yeah, your day job.
some
Yeah,
something as basic as that. No, no, I mean with programming tasks, but I
yeah.
still find it extremely frustrating. There's this claim that you can just ask something and it'll spit out, a complete program. It's just bullshit, as
Oh
far as
yeah,
I'm
well,
concerned.
well, we
Or
we
maybe,
we we know that because we used you prototyped something that worked, but then when we tried to make it do something more, I basically
yeah,
ended up rewriting it from scratch because
yeah,
it was quicker to try to know what I'm actually trying to get to as an outcome rather than keep prodding the prompt machine and say, oh, now do this instead, because it always came back with like slightly different, slightly and never quite right kind of
yeah,
fragments of
yeah,
code.
yeah,
And
yeah,
again, because it's it doesn't actually understand what it's trying to do. It's just spitting out, oh, when somebody types in this, there's hundreds of articles that use this code fragment, so this must be related to this, so let me just spit that in. Half the time when you ask for a program from one of those code assistants, it's very likely that it's not going to run or compile or whatever, and then you're stuck. Then you're like, if I don't know, people always say, oh yeah, 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 I use it, but then I have to go in and make sure that it does the right thing. It's like, so you're doing the work twice. You get,
yeah.
you think
Well,
you're saving time, but then in the end, you're actually spending more time QAing this automated result. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't, I, I haven't found it useful to help my writing, but I have a very idiosyncratic style anyway, so I wouldn't expect to be able to be helpful in that. I haven't actually tried to get it to write large screens of text. What I did do was try to get it to create the templates for the HTML support, just the replicate the templates, and but it just adds BS in there, and so you've got to take the time to, uh, is this actually correct? No, it's not. Change it, and so you end up, yeah, it end up being if you just for things that I can do, that I have the ability to do, that I can do them um, in a similar amount of time or less time, and definitely less frustration than if I used a LLM. But anyway, uh, moving swiftly on.
I'm gonna go for my own beautiful face. What
Your
hides
own,
behind me? Yeah, that,
yes.
that's
Okay,
that's
that's you, isn't it? Yes.
yes.
Woke.
So woke. Yes.
Yeah. So on the subject, I mean, it's what do you think about the term, and does it have meaning? And uh, yeah, just what do you
Um, I,
reckon?
I think that the way it's being used these days, particularly in a pejorative sense, is a really good canary in the coal mine for
Freaking
you
out.
know
Sorry.
yeah, that's all right. I'll let you play with your thing.
There we
But
go.
yeah, anybody who uses woke as a pejorative these days, that's an immediate signal that they're unserious and biased people. Because it's being used almost to the point of meaninglessness for basically anything that I don't like.
Yeah,
Often, mostly used by people that are from the right side of the political spectrum to basically mean anything that is slightly to the left of their current position.
yeah,
It's
anything
it's
that I
just,
like. Yeah.
yeah, it's the same way that it used to be. Oh, you're a communist, or
Oh, they're still
whatever.
using that.
Yeah. Oh,
They
they are. Yeah.
isn't Trump saying that,
Oh,
he's
yeah,
a
yeah. That
communist, what's his name?
Yeah, the mayoral candidate for
Yeah,
for New York. Yeah, is it Mumdani? Whatever. Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. He's saying like, yeah, he's worse than a socialist. He's a communist. It's like, yeah, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's the Red Scare and everything else, but it's the usual. It's the usual meaningless word now these days. I mean, back the original meaning or how it was used was, you know, to a specific community, usually, an underrepresented community, and about being aware, being awake to the, systemic challenges that are always around you and everything else. But yeah, nowadays the way it's being used is just as a right wing slur, and
So
it's lost all
on a
its meaning.
scale of very woke to asleep, um, where do you put yourself?
I mean, like, well, I was going to say like most people in our industry, but I've actually come across quite a few very right wing assholes in recent months in the accessibility community as well, which is always interesting when you find people that work in an industry that uh, on its face is actually trying to do quite positive things, and then they start ranting about but all these Mexicans or whatever.
Really?
um yeah, I mean, there's a few people, or the very gammony Brexity kind of types that you see in the UK. In that once you start scratching below the surface, it's like it's the
You're
usual.
not talking about Dr. Swallow now, are you?
No, absolutely not. No, but there are certain people that we both kind of bump into every now and again that
Yeah.
are of that ilk. But yeah, I would say, personally, I'm fairly left of the in the political spectrum, if that even has a meaning anymore these days,
Yeah,
as
I think
the
it does.
as the Overton window has been pushed so far to the right that even Labour is in the UK is now
Oh, well, yeah,
indistinguishable from the
there's not many
Tories. But
left, are they?
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, I believe in socialism, if I believe in anything at all. Um,
Yeah,
universal healthcare, free education, blah, blah, blah. I believe in paying people a decent wage, etc., etc. And I believe in, truth in politics, which is of very in very short supply. When when I originally put this subject woke, I was thinking in terms of how much this movement towards and like anti DEI stuff. So
Yeah.
and how that has uh affected you personally, and how do you see it just affecting the climate of discussion and the enthusiasm to make things usable by people with disabilities.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we've all been kind of very aware of the change in the political climate, particularly in the US, but not only there, also in the UK. Reform trying to ape this similar talking points, and the same thing happening in European countries, in Germany, Italy. There is
Yep.
this kind of concerted push from the right to basically push back on what they feel is the woke kind of agenda that was too prevalent. So it's always like ebbs and flows, but particularly from our point of view, we work in an industry that pretty much is one of the core pillars of DEI in many ways. And the fact that a lot of our customers are working from are operating from the US, and there is this concerted, almost like witch hunt now that's been authorized way from up high from the president down about anything to do with that sounds a bit like disability or inclusion is should be defunded.
Yep.
That will certainly have a chilling effect on a lot of things, and we've seen this. Luckily we've not been. When I say we, I mean in our company directly. I don't think we've felt it immediately, but there are certainly some customers, US customers, where you start to get the feeling that maybe their budget for accessibility remediation
Yeah.
or for training or whatever has been scaled back, and where things are still happening, it's a little bit more almost like under the radar. They don't want to make big waves about it, whereas a few years ago it was maybe fashionable for big
Yeah.
companies to kind of flaunt how accessible,
Yeah.
or what their efforts are. And the same way that you saw the movies and media and everything else maybe overemphasized some of these aspects a bit more, sometimes in a very performative way rather than in a meaningful way. The same way that you used to see every year, big corporations all of a sudden have their little rainbow flag when it's Pride Month or whatever. Uh, Before the rest of the year, they still go off and kill people in third world countries or whatever, directly
Yeah.
or indirectly. So yeah, there used to be a lot of that performative kind of stuff. But yeah, even with the companies that were doing the actual work, there certainly has been kind of a slight, taking a step back, maybe doing it a little more under the radar rather than openly shouting about things. And that is one of the I think the saddest kind of outcomes of all of this, because if you asked me a few years back, it really felt like there was momentum with, yes, finally, big
Yeah.
companies are getting it and they're investing and they're doing. But
But
basically
it's
now,
all
yeah,
very fragile, isn't it? It all just falls
yeah,
away very quickly. And they
yeah.
change. I was reading something recently sort of saying that there was been anti-DEI yeah, sort of backlash or measures or watering down in UK companies as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
which doesn't
they're
surprise me.
trying, and France as well. I think they then send their kind of the US ambassador saying you're not going to get the big contracts
Yeah,
overseas. Yeah, I mean it's the you
it's
know
a really, yeah. I mean, the transactional nature of control and authority that's been brought in with this
yeah.
latest.
Well, I think it's always been there. It's just that for the most part, we've all been roughly aligned. Now it's kind of
Yeah,
now the seams are showing where, yes, individual countries can push back, but only up to a certain point, which is why, you get all the politicians that a few years ago were slagging off Trump, saying, "Oh, what a terrible, aren't we glad that he's not president anymore? What a joke he was." And now they were the first ones to phone him up and congratulate him. And same that you see now with all the with Tim Apple giving him his crystal participation trophy, saying yes, we're going to pay for the Epstein ballroom for you,
yeah, yeah.
and
It's
sucking up to him. But it's there is that.
it's just disgusting. Like,
It
I
is.
mean,
It is. It.
yeah,
But that's the. I think the problem is that's the way the world has always been. It's just that so far we've kind of not been aware of it because we were all kind of moving
yeah. Well,
in
I
we
think we
thought
lived
was a
through
reasonable
a
direction.
fair, we've grown up in a fairly liberal, left-leaning age, and I think, yeah, it's just correcting itself and going back to the
Yeah.
fuckloads. Um, Putting that the other depressing topic aside,
Let's talk
let's
about death. Death.
let's end the fireside chat with something positive. Tell us a bit about where you're going, and to participate at TPAC, and what that means to you, and what work you're doing, and etc. Tell us a bit about your standards work, Patrick.
Yes, I'll tell about my standards. I'll tell you about my very low standards. I mean, I always say that I'm kind of marginally involved with standards work,
But that's
but as
bullshit. I mean,
I know. Somebody pointed out the other day that they read my official bio where it's like occasional WCAG contributor, and they said, well, if you're occasional, then I don't know what
yeah,
a fervent contributor would be like, because yeah, I like to if you go on the WCAG repository on GitHub, you'll see that out of the 500 odd issues that have been filed and pull requests that have been put there, a good chunk of them are from
yours, yeah.
yours truly. Yeah, I mean that's the weird thing. I was thinking back at that a few days ago, actually. That in my previous job, when I was still working at a university as web editor, or like glorified webmaster, I still remember that was just on the eve of WCAG, the first version of WCAG 2 coming out, and it was still the review period. And I still vividly remember one evening, kind of, we were out at the pub after work, and I had like a big printed out version of the whole thing with lots of little scribbles of mine that I was still filing through the review periods. Give us your feedback kind of thing.
I love
There's
those
probably
give us your
things,
feedback, because it's usually,
yeah,
yeah, you get some, oh yeah, thank you very much. Now fuck
yeah.
off.
Exactly. I mean
Yeah.
that's the thing at the time, and I'm sure
Okay.
that a lot of things that are noted there are probably still in WCAG 2.2 and not been addressed. So from a very early age, I've been kind of interested in the WCAG stuff, and now time permitting, which luckily with my job, I do get some protected time to actually look at it. I get more involved with it. I'm particularly keen on still working on WCAG 2.2 at this point. A lot of people saying, why are you doing that? We're going to have WCAG 3 soon. I would question the soon part, but even if that's the case, even if WCAG 3 is just about to be released in a year or two, the reality is that, day in, day out, we're still working with WCAG 2 for
And we
better or
will be
worse.
for the
And
foreseeable
we will
future.
be for the foreseeable. And I'm just trying to make it a little bit better. There's a
And
lot
you're
of
doing a
parts.
sterling job, you and
Yeah.
Bruce Bailey and Michael
Mike
Gower and
Gower
the
and
whole
yeah,
crew.
yeah, no. So we're actually we're finally in this little subgroup that we're looking at the WCAG 2 backlog team. We're actually finally looking at a lot of the technical debt that's been accumulated because people have been filing issues against WCAG 2 where the wording isn't quite clear or
Yeah.
things just outright didn't make sense. And for the longest time, that's just been sitting there. So we're now, I mean, it's a Sisyphean task because every time we think we've done a good job of clearing some aspect of this backlog, in the meantime, lots more came in, but we persevere. We try to push this big boulder up the hill,
Well,
and every now and again we manage to merge in some things that I've been fighting for a long time. Like recently, there was there's always been auditors that would immediately fail a page if there was a non-interactive element that received focus. They would immediately say no, that fails. There's now a little bit more nuance in
nuance
the
about it.
understanding document. Yeah.
Tell me, you will probably know, Scott O'Hara was working on the reflow understanding doc, and he did a lot of work with that.
Yeah.
Did it actually ever get pushed to,
I
production?
believe I believe so. It should be in the I mean that's the thing. There's the published solid stable version of WCAG 2.2, which I think it was the last published version was December last year. I don't want to lie. But there is an editor's draft that is the most up to
Yeah.
date. And then at some point, when the stars align, that editor's draft gets republished. But it
So you're
doesn't,
saying that
basically
there's editors
this.
drafts of the non-normative docs as well? Because my understanding was the reflow stuff was just the techniques or understanding docs.
Yeah, for the most part, we tinker on that. There's a few things that actually change in the normative, but it's mainly errata. It's mainly like this word has always been wrong, and here's the correction for that particular thing. But the one thing that we can't do in the group is basically completely rewrite
Yeah,
success criteria, and that's been you mentioned Scott's work on reflow. I mean that's been part of the problem. Reflow as it was written at the time has lots of problems. It was a well-meaning kind of SC, but the way it's been worded makes it mostly pointless in many cases, and it immediately doesn't apply or makes it impossible to apply as written to things like mobile applications. And I know that WCAG was never intended to
but
be
it's being
applied
used by,
directly,
yeah.
but it's being used. And yeah, the way that normative wording is for, say, reflow, just immediately made it impractical or non-workable for mobile. So with what Scott has done with help from all of us in the group is try to add a bit more pragmatic nuance to how to interpret it in certain situations. But it was always the problem is we're always bound by the normative wording. So
The
that
normative wording is shit. So yeah,
exactly. So
I
so
understand that.
we've been polishing that turd as much as we could.
Yeah,
So
well,
yeah.
that's why we need Wake 3, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I mean, obviously I was trying to move you towards, what are you going to be doing at TPAC? So you're going to be involved in the back. Are there backlog AG meetings or AG
Yeah. Yeah.
accessory
I mean
guideline
the
meetings in general?
Yeah, I mean the backlog group is only a sub task force effectively from the accessibility working group. So there will be meetings both of the AGWAG itself, like the
Yeah.
large large meetings.
I've attended those.
Yeah,
I managed to,
yeah,
last time I managed to sit through half a day. I don't know, my
yeah.
mind just wanders off.
I know. They're an acquired taste. I remember my very first meeting from Agwag. There's a lot of talking, and often it seems that after 3 hours of talking, you're still not quite sure what the outcome of it was. But
Well, there's
there will
no
be a lot
outcome.
of
It's actually a
yeah.
regression.
I know. So there will be a lot of that. The actual backlog task force itself, I think we have one or two slots where we're gonna do some intense backlogging. Hopefully, just looking at some quick wins and discussing them, and just basically approving pull requests that are non-controversial, things where they just added a little bit of extra wording that doesn't look problematic, let's just merge it and not go through like lengthy periods of review
Yeah,
and everything else.
of back and forth, back and
Yeah.
forth.
And
Um,
then just as a palate cleanser, I mean the other bit of work that I do is I'm chair and co-editor of the Pointer Events Working Group, which is probably an oddity because it's not really directly related to accessibility, but as a prevalent input mechanism, there's always some kind of aspect where at least you need to be aware that, or is this going to cause problems for, say, non-pointer users like keyboard users, etc.
sounds
So
like you're trying to cut the
I'm trying to
APA.
justify
Right.
it. Well, APA is very generalized for other things. We're very
Horizontal
specifically.
review. I'm a
Yeah.
member of the APA group and I quite enjoy it. I mean, because when I first started getting involved with W3C in the say 2007, from then on, I used to spend a lot of time talking with Yanina, and Yanina's still there. She's ageless. Um, but it's just a nice friendly group. I don't know how much they actually get done. Well, they seem to get a lot done, but I don't do much. But I mean, I just like to be there and like fly on the wall in these groups. I mean, I've been
Yeah.
in the backlog meetings as well. It's just good to have a feeling about, or just
Yeah.
have.
Have your finger on the prostate
Yes, the prostate
of
of the
web development.
W3C.
That's it.
Yes. Okay, so you're going to where is it, Kobe?
It's in Kobe. So I'm flying this Friday. It's going to be a week there of meetings and greetings. And then after that, I'm just getting a bit of rest and relaxation. Or, well, that's the idea, but I'll be rushing around Osaka to take some photos, which is right next door. And then spending a week in Tokyo, or as Makoto would say, Tokyo, Japan.
Yes.
Not to be
Yes.
confused with Tokyo, Texas. So yeah, I'll be going around. It's the first time that I'm going to Japan. I'm quite excited. So yeah.
Do you find that actually being in attendance, like having face-to-face meetings with, is helpful or useful?
I think it certainly changes the dynamic in some meetings. When everybody's in Zoom with the best will in the world, you can try and enforce the right. We're having a queue. Raise your hand like you've had your hand up the entire thing. To speak and everything else. But in the end, there will be like 3 or 4 people that really like the sound of their voice, and I'll admit I'm one of them.
Yeah,
And they'll
I've
just
had a
yeah,
hard time controlling you or
I
get a
know.
word in edgeways.
But they're particularly in online meetings, it's very easy to basically dominate the meeting unless you got some very strict moderators that make sure that everybody gets their say. Not it's not everybody's bag to just kind of unmute during a big meeting with like 50 participants and say, right, here's my take on it. And sometimes just by the nature of what's discussed is not something that you can just get a quick gut feeling. Let me just edit this. Let's share it on the screen. Does this look good for everybody? It's like sometimes it's stuff that you want to just take your time and kind of ruminate a bit. But I think the dynamic of that changes when everybody's in the room, because then it's a little bit easier to just, maybe even just for the moderator to pick up, if you're saying something in the meeting and I'm sitting next to you and I start rolling my eyes at what you're saying, then the moderator might pick up on, Patrick, did you have a counterpoint to that?
Yeah.
Whereas if this was an online meeting, I'd be muted and I'll say, well, that's bollocks, but nobody heard it because I'm muted. So I think it changes the dynamic a little bit for that. It also lends itself more to kind of collaborative work, because the one thing I hate in when it's online, when it's like, let's set up some breakout rooms and everybody
Oh,
will
yeah.
chat and then you come back into the main room. It's like that dynamic just doesn't, for me at least, doesn't work
No,
online.
the Agwag has these subgroups that keep going on, and I just sort of exit stage left.
Yeah,
I mean, because I've just found I'm being in the subgroups and I don't find them. But besides that, I've sort of
yeah,
found somewhere to put my energies, that being the way how I am, and that sort of working well. But I
yeah,
do enjoy, as you say, well, I do enjoy spending time with people, but I always just find TPAC to be a lot of people that are uncomfortable socially, sort of being shoved together.
yeah. It's
And,
kind of the gathering of the socially awkward. Yeah, it's
yeah,
it's
so
it's
I
it's
mean, it's an
interesting.
interesting time. I
Yeah,
just spend a lot of time
yeah.
in my room.
Yeah, I know,
Um,
I know. But yeah,
it's,
the other thing that's really helpful with the face to face aspect of TPAG is, particularly when you're trying to collaborate with other groups. It very
yeah,
often you end up kind of just following up email after email of, can we have a chat about this? Can we do it? And because of time zone differences and differences in how the group is made up when they meet, it often doesn't actually happen. Whereas when you're all physically there in the same time zone, and you bump into each other in break time between sessions, and at lunchtime, whatever, or in the evening at the bar, you might just bump into somebody saying, look, I've been trying to get a moment with you, can we just take 5 minutes, and I want to show you something on my laptop, and can we just panel beat this into something that both groups are happy with. So it's like many conferences. It's the hallway conversations that
yeah.
kind of make those conferences. It's the same difference between, you can go to an online conference and see all the sessions, but the experience is so much richer if you're actually physically there and having the water cooler chats and the corridor chats with people afterwards.
I'm sure it'll be a very productive time for you and an enjoyable time, and that's part of the
Yeah,
reason why um, I'm not going and you are, because I think we're
that's it.
well. I mean, I think this year, well, as well as it being a long way away, it's in Dublin next year. I think I'll go to that. We'll both go to that. But I think
Yeah,
it is important for people such as yourself to represent the accessibility community and represent Tetralogical as our employer, etc., etc. Uh,
yeah.
Thank you, Pat. It's been, well, I'd like to say it's been illuminating. Hopefully,
You're
now
not
I've got
the
to,
you're not the illuminator, so yeah, it can't
no,
be
no,
illuminating.
no. Well, I've got quite a few people lined up. Say hi to Mike Smith. What
Yeah,
when
we'll do.
while you're there, try to get a picture with him. That'd be
Yep.
great because I like my pictures. And yeah, I mean, there's still lots of other questions that I could have asked you. Maybe if I do continue to do this and don't get jack of it, you might even be have a second bite at the cherry.
Yeah, excellent. And then
Yeah,
then we'll be like the semi-finals and the finals, and then who's the most resurrected on the fireside
yeah.
chat. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Pat. I appreciate you
Excellent.
being the guinea pig and yeah, I'll talk to you. I'll probably never talk to you again, but No, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yep.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Yeah, how do
How do I stop this?
how do I stop it? Yeah,
Uh,
I
yeah,
get,
go to
look, it'll
yeah,
all look a lot better after the post processing.
absolutely. Yeah, just give me flowing locks and
Yeah,
Max Headroom style kind of stylings. No, cool
that'll do.
stuff.
All
Yeah.
right, thanks, Pat. Bye.
Laters.